You know, I might not be the oldest gamer out there, but there's one thing that I've noticed in recent years. When it comes to developers celebrating their anniversaries for their franchises, they tend to get pretty lazy. I mean, for every Zelda concert and Skyward Sword that you get a dozen or so anniversary collections. You'd think that after all this time, these developers would actually put some effort and make a game that we'd actually want to buy rather than the ones we've already played. But nope, most anniversaries are just shameless cash-ins. So, when a game developer gets it right for their anniversary, it's something to be cherished. So, here's to a franchise that celebrated its big 3-0, Space Invaders. Oh, I'm not talking about the original Space Invaders, I'm talking about Space Invaders Extreme! And now it's time for the intro and unnecessary history.
I got my first real six-string, bought at the 5 and dime.
Space Invaders, what can you say about it that hasn't been said already? The arcade classic is one of the most important games ever made, and it was one of the first home ports done right on a console, the Atari 2600 to be precise. Since its inception, it's become one of the most recognizable series inside gaming and out, with constant pop cultural references. Sorry, that's all the English footage that I could find for that episode. Oh, you want more? Okay, fine. Here's some in German.
Wocka, 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 wocka. Kommen wir gleich zur Sache. Was wissen Sie über die Nintendianer?
I have no idea what they're saying. Anyway, Space Invaders Extreme. Now, this is the part where I'd normally talk about the plot, but there's none to speak of, and in this arcade-style game, that's alright. Besides, could you imagine Space Invaders with a plot? I can't say anything. Just go to German, Futurama.
Wocka, 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 wocka. Köstlich, wie muffige Marshmallows.
Bottom line, Space Invaders doesn't need a plot. Let's move on to gameplay. What the hell are they thinking? For a game with the title Extreme in it, the game is actually pretty simple. You control a spaceship and shoot down aliens. Sounds a lot like the first game, right? Well, here's where the game differs from the original. Extreme takes the original shoot them before they shoot you formula and modernizes it, while still keeping the arcadey goodness of the original. It embraces its arcade legacy and builds on the foundation with power-ups, fever mode, branching stages, new enemy types, and even boss battles. Sometimes after shooting an enemy, a power-up will drop. A green spread shot that's helpful for the pesky last enemy. A red bomb that's good for taking out a lot of enemies in one shot. A blue laser that's good for clearing rows of enemies. And there's also a temporary shield, but it's much less common than the others. Besides, these power-ups are just the icing on this delicious gaming cake. Sometimes the game will break up with the little minigame section where you're given an objective. Beat it, and you enter fever mode with the more powerful power-up and rack up an even higher score. The levels are challenging, and at the end you'll face a different boss to mix up the usual shoot anything that moves monotony of similar titles. It's a fine example of how to celebrate a series while still staying true to what made Space Invaders so memorable in the first place. Enjoyable arcade action that makes you want to party like it's 1978.
Stage cleared.
There's just one flaw with the game, and it's minor. It's pretty short. You can beat it within a couple of days, maybe a day even if you're that dedicated. But while you're playing it, you'll have a good time. And that's exactly what this game is. It's a good time. It reminds you of those days of old when you would go to the arcade, you'd beg your parents for a quarter, you'd take that quarter, you'd stick it in the machine, and then you'd have a good time. You'd waste your day playing that one game, and that's exactly what this game is. While you're playing it, you'll have a blast. It may be short, but it's so sweet. Graphically, the game is impressive on both systems. Obviously, the PSP version has the more impressive graphics, but the DS version isn't a slouch, as it has two screens to display how refined but simple the graphics look. It's colorful, vibrant, and extremely eye-catchy, though at times the backgrounds can look, shall we say, a bit trippy. They definitely aren't clear most of the time, but still, it works with the style of the game. As for sound, the game is all about rhythm, so naturally it has a good beat to it. I especially love how when an invader is destroyed, how the sound effect adds to the song. It's great. You'll be marveling this whole time at how a simple game about aliens can be presented so well with so little behind it. All that can be said is, it's well done, just like you'd expect for the series' 30th anniversary. Honestly, there isn't that much to be said about this title that I haven't already said. Okay, there's one more thing. It does have a sequel called Space Invaders Extreme 2, but from what I've read, it's basically the exact same game as the first one, which isn't such a bad thing. After all, this is the title that I would say on how to celebrate a series. It's the golden standard. Anyway, if you have a PSP, a DS, or even an Xbox 360, pick it up. For $10, you can't get much better than this. So, tune in next week where we review... What are we reviewing? A new IP? Sweet! Who made it? No dead space. Anybody but Dead Space! Okay, we'll get one more Futurama clip, but this is the last one.
There, little friend, good as new. Oh!
How does he set it on fire? What, is he related to Michael Bay or something? Anyway, until next time, game on, my friends.